Welcome to the House of Unconditional Love, to May at the House of Unconditional Love. Who loves May? As spring blossoms into full flower, we gather in this sacred space to deepen our relationship with the divine feminine, the holy wisdom, the compassionate presence of and nurturing power that sustains all creation. This month's journey invites us to remember, bring the parts of ourselves back together, and remember what has never truly left us, right? To restore the relationship with sacred energies that have and do dwell within all of us all along, and to integrate the profound teachings that emerge when we recognize and rediscover the wholeness in ourselves and in the divine. So whether you're joining us for the first time or returning to our community, you are held in unconditional love just as you are. You're perfect in your imperfection, right? Whole in your questioning, sacred in your seeking. And from the ancient May Day celebrations through Mother's Day honorings, right, to the sacred partnership of all divine energies, we will walk together through May, through this month, towards the healing of our hearts and the world. So we welcome you home. Welcome home to yourself. Welcome to the unfolding revelation of divine love. The doors of this house are open. Our hearts are open to you, and we welcome you as your Ministers of Unconditional Love. I'm Cynthia. This is Kyose Daiji, and he'll be starting the sermon off in a moment. But to make your donations to the House of Unconditional Love, the Church of Unconditional Love, you can go to the QR code or unconditionallove.us, us. So unconditionallove.us, and support there. Without further ado, we have Kyose to start us off on this May extraordinary journey, and I will see you shortly to share a little more about the mother and the divine feminine and how we can merge it into
unconditional love and live it in mystical presence. So take it away.
Thank you. Yes, thank you all for being here today. This is the House of Unconditional Love. And the month of May, we are honoring the feminine. And this is not just honoring the feminine women in our life. This is really honoring the feminine energy that is in all of us. We all have masculine, feminine, beloved energy. We all have positive, negative, neutral energy. This is our energy systems. We all have love, fear, and unconditional love. This is our psychological systems. We all have these parts of ourselves, and as we start to acknowledge them and understand them as a part of who we can have a better understanding of ourselves and our own personal relationship with unconditional love. And the month of May is an opportunity to acknowledge the feminine side of all of us. And the way we can do this is by honoring the feminine in our life, honoring the women and the goddesses that are in our life. And I had an opportunity to honor the feminine in a very special way to me. I had an opportunity to raise my daughters by myself in the consciousness of unconditional love. And this was because they ended up going back and forth from their moms and mine every other week. So I had them 50% of the time. And so I wanted to create an environment for them so that they could start to have this conscious relationship with this unconditional love inside of themselves. But they were little, they were young. So I did show them videos and things like that, but it was the experience of unconditional love that I really wanted them to have and take with them into their lives. And how I did this was I set up a space that I created. So when they would come over, I would set intention to let them know that they were walking into a space of unconditional love. And how I did this was I took on something that we did when we were younger. We called it Bancho. I grew up in a Zen Buddhist temple, and we rang Bancho every morning to waken up the day. We had a bell inside and outside, rain or shine. We were there ringing the bell with my father. And I took this on as when they came into the house with me and in my environment, I rang a bell with them. In fact, this specific bell right here. And I rang it 3 times because they were young. It wasn't like trying to understand it consciously or with words and things like that. It was more giving them the experience of it in their body. And so when we'd ring this gong here, we'd ring it 3 times, and we'd take turns, taking turns doing that. And what I would do during that process of them coming to me and ringing this bell and creating this ritual is that I would hold the space, hold the consciousness, hold the intention of love, fear, and unconditional love in each one of those gongs. Because when we have a relationship with love and fear consciously, we can ignite any of these in our body at any time. Holding the sensation of fear, holding the sensation of love, holding the sensation of unconditional love. And I know that as we are in presence of somebody, we take on their projections, their fears, right? The fears that are passed down from generation to generation through our expression of life, our love and fear of life. That's what gets projected to the next generation. And so I wanted to consciously give them an experience so they could embody this at a young age, so that they could have an opportunity when they get older and they're out in the world that is a distraction of fear and trying to avoid fear and getting rid of fear and not loving that side of ourselves. When they went out in that world, that when they came home to being accepting of all of who they are, the love and the fear, that they had a foundation for facing a world that we all are in. We have all evolved into this world that does not accept fear. And it conditions us into our conditioned behavior that we see every day, the way we feel and are in life, our pain and suffering, our joy and pleasure, is all our relationship with unconditional love. And so I wanted to extend this relationship with fear with them and how to work with it in their body. I opened a dojo. For 7 years, I had a dojo in town that I opened to the community, but I also wanted to have it as an opportunity to share with my daughters how to work with the sensation of fear in our body, the sensation of conflict. And judo is the gentle way. It is the gentle way to work with that. It's not about the other person. It's about our own relationship with our fear in the situation. How we can maintain balance of accepting both love and fear in a situation so that we are not off balance ourselves, projecting our own fear into the world. So this environment that I created, and when they were there, I kept a very simple idea of how to live as unconditional love together, because it had to be simple for my kids. They were young. And it is simple. It really is acknowledging ourselves and our fears. And the only way we can do that is become conscious of both the love and fear of who we are. So we take ownership of our own fear when we share it, not just project it into the world. And so that's the simplicity of our relationship with me in this environment of unconditional love. Letting their bodies feel the experience as they came to me through the ringing of the gong, to the practice of acknowledging each other and our fears. The next opportunity that I had to acknowledge them, besides all their birthdays and all the wonderful surprises and things that I was able to create in acknowledging them individually, it was also the opportunity to acknowledge them becoming a woman. In my experience of raising my daughters and talking to friends and women friends that have told me about their own experience of the menstrual cycle and their moon, that some of my friends, their parents never talked to them about it. They just started bleeding and thought they were dying for months.
It's true.
This is because of our fear. Our fears conditioned us not to talk about it.
Women's business.
And I wanted to honor it. I wanted to honor that transition. Partly because in our family, we had an opportunity, my brother and I were acknowledged as this transition into being a man. And so I wanted to give that to them because I wanted to honor this experience that they were having, honor this experience and this transition into being a woman, and that it's not something to be afraid of, it's something to be embraced. The woman, the goddess, is something to be embraced. Yes, many facets, many expressions. She is all of them in this world. The energy that has given birth to all of this, that is the feminine energy. The energy that has given birth to all of us. And when we share our gratitude and our honor to this feminine energy around us, we acknowledge that side of ourselves. Now, the other thing I did to honor my daughters was I never really told them why their mother and I separated. I did say that when there are fears between people and they're not worked on, they grow and push people apart. That's just natural. It's what happens. As I got older, I held back the information of why we were separated because I wanted them to know their mom for who I saw in her when I asked her to marry me. Because that's the person that created them and who they are. I did know that because we were not able to work on that fear together, their mom and I, that this fear would be passed to the next generation. And I would be working on that with them. And we were very conscious of this idea that we were working on this love and fear between us as they were growing up, but never told them about what the reason was, because I wanted them to remember their mom as a youth, as a child, as the person I saw when I married her. When I was writing my most recent book, The Life of a Jedi Priest, I had to share more of that information because it was time to free myself of holding that information for them. And so when they were old enough, and they just happened to be in teenage years, so they had already created a relationship with their mom in a certain way. But I did need to share with them the truth of what happened and how I honored not just them, but their mom as well in their relationship as the feminine. And what had happened was she ended up having an affair for a couple of years. And she ended up coming to me, and I forgave her. I forgave her because it was an opportunity to work on the fear that had been growing between us for years. And there was a part of her that could not forgive herself. Because if someone did that to her, she would not be able to forgive them. So how could she forgive herself? And because of that, we were never able to work on it consciously together. And so we separated. But the gift and the honoring of the feminine was giving them that relationship. Giving them that relationship of the purity of who I saw in their mom, that unconditional nature that is in each of us. And as a parent, the last gift that we can give our kids when they become an adult and go out into the world is let them have their own choice. And this is not an easy choice for my children, because in some ways, choosing unconditional love is choosing me over their mom. When in reality, unconditional love is not me. Unconditional love is everyone. Unconditional love includes their mom. These are ways that we can honor the feminine in our life. We have Mother's Day coming. These are some of the unconscious ways that we've created as human beings to honor these sides of ourselves, the love and the fear, through the masculine and the feminine, through the positive, negative, and neutral. These are our ways of working with the unconscious relationship of love and fear to unconditional love itself. So this month, let's honor the feminine in all of us. The feminine that gave birth to all of these conditions, all of this reality. Part of unconditional love, we have a relationship right here. And when we choose to have this relationship with unconditional love, we not only find peace inside of ourselves with what's happening in the world because we understand it now, we have an opportunity to find peace in the world with the human race that is acknowledging unconditional love as the foundation of our expression. And what I mean by the foundation of our expression is that everything we do in our life, everything that we're doing, is our own expression of unconditional love in this world. It is our love and fear of unconditional love itself. All of the pain, all of the suffering, all the joy, all the pleasure, all the judging, all the blaming. All of this is our love and fear of unconditional love. And as a human race, as we start to acknowledge that we all are just expressing this unconditional love and start to acknowledge that to each other, we have an opportunity to reveal the heaven on earth that is right here, right now. Aloha. And next we have Cynthia, Reverend Cynthia.
Thank you for that. Wow, power-filled, huh? I need a drink after that. That fire of the masculine, the water of the feminine. And when we come together, the fire and water at the heart, what happens? Steam to rise, right? How do we get from the rise of the feminine to the heart to meet the masculine, right? How do we get to the higher? How do we rise? How do we ascend? Water, fire, together create steam that rises, okay? So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for bringing the fire to the water of today's return. So I'm here to speak to you, to share with you, and let me know what you're feeling, what sensations are coming up. The return of the mother, right? The return of the mother, the divine feminine. The divine feminine is never truly absent. Only our awareness of her presence was exiled. In recognizing her, we are recognizing ourselves, our return, right? We recognize her, we ourselves return home. Breathe. So we gather here on this first Sunday of May. We stand at the threshold of seasons. And just days ago, the ancient celebration of May Day marked the midpoint between, well, it depends where you live, but right here, the spring equinox and the summer solstice, or the time when cultures across the northern hemisphere, I'm not from the northern hemisphere, but right? We can still see the space between the space. This time when the northern hemisphere have honored the flourishing of life, the greening of the world, and the sacred feminine powers of regeneration and renewal. So what does it mean that so many traditions have placed the Divine Mother at the center? What does that mean for you? That so many traditions over thousands of years have placed the Divine Mother at the center of this seasonal turning from the Mayan priestesses to the Celtic wisdom keepers, from ancient Hebrew mystics to the indigenous earth honoring peoples. Right. The early days of May have long been recognized as a time when the veil between the worlds grows thin. And the nurturing, the creative, life-sustaining energies of the feminine, the divine, become palpable and accessible. Right? This is not just history or historical curiosity. This is an invitation that echoes through time, calling us now. Perhaps more urgently than ever before. Right? So we live in a world of suffering. What does Buddha say?
Life is suffering.
What does Buddha say?
First noble truth. Life is suffering.
Right? Life is suffering. So we have this balance or this imbalance. We live in a world suffering from profound imbalance. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. Love and light, love and light, love and light, love and light. Where does she come out of? Where are we birthed out of? Our bodies carry this tension of imbalance. Our communities fragment under its pressure. Our planet groans beneath its weight. Do you feel it? Do you feel it? I need a breath. Right? The imbalance reflects a cosmic exile, a separation, or the separation of the divine feminine presence, the Shekinah, from full expression in our world. I'm going to talk about the Ari because, many of you may not know the Ari. And he's a great 16th century mystic, the Ari, and he taught about the exile. It was not merely an abstract theological concept, but a lived reality affecting every dimension of existence. What happened when the feminine wisdom, with its emphasis on relationship, embodiment, cyclical awareness, and compassion and compassionate boundaries, right, become marginalized or forgotten? We see the results all around us. All around us. You just have to look at your phone, look out the window, look at your partner, look at your child, like it's all around us, right? exploitation replacing stewardship, conquest replacing collaboration, abstraction replacing embodied knowing, and these rigid systems replacing living wisdom. But here is the great mystery that May Day whispers to us. And as the Magdalene says, listen with the ear of the heart. The exile was never complete. The exile was never complete. The mother was never truly absent. Like the flowers of spring. Have you ever seen that? It used to baffle me driving to work back in the day when I worked in the city of Perth. And I'd stop at the traffic lights and I'd see these little green shoots coming out of the concrete. Whew! I would sit there in awe of these little sprouts cracking through the density of the concrete, the man-made structure, trying to prevent growth. So like these little spring flowers pushing through the concrete, her presence continues to emerge, even though the cracks through the cracks of our forgetfulness. So the healing we seek, when we speak of the divine mother, I feel like this is rose oil, Bulgarian rose oil, which I anoint. I anointed this painting, so it's without, real curiosity that image came through, because that's how, that was the energy. So we speak of the Divine Mother, the holy wisdom, the Shekinah. We're not speaking of some distant goddess or abstract principle. We're speaking of the very ground, right, of being that sustains us in each and every moment, in every now. Those of you that can see energy, all those particles of awareness that bring us in and out of this moment, every moment, sustains each of us, the womb-like space in which all creation lives and moves. So, what might it mean to restore relationship with this presence? What might it mean for you to restore this relationship with this presence? What healing becomes possible when we recognize that what we have been searching for has been with us all along. I've witnessed when people transformed their recognition. So as the recognition comes in, there's transformation, right? Those who discover their anxiety has diminished by honoring the cyclical time rather than fighting against it. Or those that have depression lifted when reconnecting to the body's wisdom after years of being in the head. Or those of you who found sustainable power by embracing the feminine principle of strategic concealment and revelation rather than this constant confrontation. Right? These practices that are horizontal wisdom, where we can move deeper, heal the deep divisions by creating practices where horizontal wisdom can flow. So this is the promise that May offers us. Not merely a seasonal shift, but a consciousness shift. Not merely an external greening, an internal flowering. You can be the rose oil, right? So the invitation, the Shekinah, holy wisdom, she rests in me. The Shekinah may have many faces, right? Appearing as nurturing mother. Sometimes for you, she may be showing as the beloved partner. Other times, the fierce protector. She reveals herself differently to each soul according to what they need most. So contemplate what face of the divine feminine is turning towards you this season, or even today. Right? What's the face that you've seen turning towards you recently? Perhaps you need her as a Mother Earth, right? A grounding, an aspect of grounding you in embodied wisdom when you feel lost in the abstraction. Or perhaps you've seen her or you need her as the wise woman, teaching you the power of boundaries, rooted in compassion rather than fear. Or perhaps you've seen her or experienced her, or maybe need her as your midwife, helping you birth new possibilities when you're feeling trapped in old patterns, old habits. Okay? Maybe the weaver, showing you how seemingly broken ties can become part of a larger, more beautiful pattern in the waft and the weft of the weave. Whatever face she shows you, know this: her invitation is always towards wholeness. She's the circle, not the line. However, the circle and the line go together. Right? Her invitation is for wholeness, for completeness. Not a wholeness that denies complexity, but a wholeness that embraces it. Right? It's not a wholeness that demands perfection, but a wholeness that loves what seems broken back into relationship. So whatever face she's showing you, know this: wholeness, cycle, circle, right? The ancient celebration of May Day reminds us that even after the harshest winters, life returns. And as I look out the window, I see my cactus field that is struggling. But I know there's the potential with that love and that connection to bring that field back to life. And not only back to life, but to serve the community as a walking meditation practice garden. So even after the darkest night, the darkest of the dark, right? The dark night, the dawn comes, right? In the many traditions talk about, and so do I, because that's my experience, that in the darkest of the dark, there is the most light. And some of you I've shared that, where's God? In the valleys, baby, in the valleys. Oh, where you're crawling on your knees. Come on. Like when I painted Jesus here, I'm like, I was on my knees. I was on my knees. He brought me to my knees to paint this. I felt the embodiment. Holy wisdom, she rests in me. Jesus said at his baptism. I feel that. I experience that. I know that. In the darkness, the dawn comes. In the darkest darkness, the light is brightest. Return is possible. Even after the longest exile. So if you have some exile in your life, you feel exiled, you feeling pushed out, forgotten, distributed across the cosmos, right? Remember that. So I invite you now, we're going to practice a return. So let me just prepare for that. We'll do the gong in a moment, actually. So I invite you now into a practice of reconnecting. Simple yet profound, but it's a way to begin to deepen your relationship with the Divine Feminine Presence. So you want to take your mark, get set. All right, so I'm just going to ask you to, if you want to participate, that we find a comfortable position where you feel supported and place one hand on your heart and the other on your lower abdomen, the symbolic womb space that exists in all bodies regardless of gender. And we're going to take 3 breaths, and we'll do this with the gong as best you can. And just allowing your awareness to settle into your body. And now imagine that soft light beginning to glow beneath the hand of your lower abdomen. Right? The hips are lower density consciousness. Bring some light or touch in. You're not bringing, it's there. Bring it out. This light represents the Divine Feminine Presence, the holy wisdom that has been waiting patiently for your recognition. So as you breathe, allow this light to expand gradually through your entire being. There's nothing to force, Just simply allow it to move through and at its own pace, bringing gentle awareness, right, to any place within you that has been in exile. Breathe. Any aspect of yourself that has or may have forgotten or been rejected. Breathe. And as this light reaches those exiled places, imagine it surrounding them with the same compassionate presence that a loving mother would offer a child in distress. Not to fix or change, simply being present with it. Breathe. Now expand your awareness beyond your individual body to sense our collective body in this room, in this space, in this community. Breathe. Imagine the light connecting us all in a web of conscious, compassionate presence. This is Shekinah consciousness. This is the divine consciousness. Recognizing what we are held together in. Right? We are held together in the womb of creation. So let's expand further to include all life on the planet. All life on the planet, the blooming mayflowers, the creatures of the forest and ocean, the elements of the earth, water, fire, air, metal, all the expressions of and held within divine presence. And breathe. So as we prepare to close this practice, I offer you these words. I offer these words as both prayer and that commitment. Okay. Divine Mother, Holy Wisdom, Shekinah, you who have never truly left us. Open our eyes to recognize your presence. Open our bodies to embody your wisdom. Open our hearts to express your compassion. Open our hands to continue your creation. May we remember the healing begins not with grand gestures, but with simple recognition. The recognition that what we have been seeking, been looking, been searching for has been within us and around us all along. As May flowers blossom on the earth, let your wisdom blossom within us. As the green returns to the fields and the forests, let your life-giving presence return to our awareness. Not as something new, not as something new, but as the most ancient remembering. The most ancient remembering, pulling the sparks, gathering the tikkun olam back together, not as something foreign, but as our most intimate knowing. As our most intimate knowing. And so as we wrap up, I'm going to give you a little integration. And so to integrate, to bring this into your day, as you move through the days ahead, I invite you to continue this practice of recognition, of relationship. Notice where the divine feminine is already expressing herself in your life. Just take a moment. Take those opportunities, those moments to create small moments of attention, moments where you pause, just pause. Recognize her presence. In the ordinary miracles of existence. She's all and everything. She is the nurturing aspect of God. So healing, the healing we seek is not somewhere else. The healing we seek begins in this recognition. It continues through the relationship, through this relationship. It flourishes as we allow ourselves to be both held and expressions of the mother's wisdom, right? The mother's wisdom in a world longing for her return. In a world longing for her return. We cannot be complete. We cannot be whole until the recognition of the Divine Mother and the Divine Father come together as unconditional love. Otherwise, we're just echoing into the wind. One side. So until we meet again, may it be so. May we make it so. May the blessings be. Amen.
Blessings be.
Oh, let's play the song to integrate a little more, yeah?
Sounds good.
So we'll dance it out a little, but this is a slow. Is it this one?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it set up. So if you would like to join us on Wednesday, we have a devotional painting. Wednesday at 9:30.
Hey.